Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to Off the Bench with Scotty and Corey. I am Scotty. That is our awesome co-host Corey over there. Brother, how you doing today?
What's going on, man? And as I like to say, it's a great day to be a football fan on a lovely Tuesday. Partner, we got a few things to dig into here. Um, how you doing, man?
Oh, brother, I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. I'm jazzed. We'll get to that in a second, though. But first, before we do, you have some uniform information for us from around the league. Why don't you take that off for us?
Absolutely. Now, as you know, Washington did state that they were going to be unveiling their uniforms, and they did it a little bit secretively. No leaks, nothing. Very, very minimal information there. Now we got two other teams doing the same. Now the Bills have announced that they are going to be unveiling a new uniform this year, but it seems that some people just can't stand to have a secret. And it appears that it might be a grayish nickel color. Now that is just a leak that is not confirmed, but if that will be the confirmed uniform, it does look pretty decent. I do like the uniforms myself. And also, we do have the Ravens unveiling their uniform on either 4/16 or 4/17 of this month, and that is basically the uniform news, man. So I'm excited for these uniforms. I can't wait. The Ravens said, "quote," that it is a new era for football, so they're going to be unveiling a whole new set of uniforms.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's got me jazzed. But you know what else has me jazzed, though, partner?
What's that?
That is today's sponsor, Aspire Drinks. Oh my God, dude! I had one this morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. for work. I was out the door, ready to work. We were at the job site 7 a.m. I cracked an Aspire. I was groggy, not feeling it. Chugged down that Aspire, and brother, I am still jazzed. Still, it's been 10 hours. It's awesome. But what's amazing is how they make it happen. Like it's so incredible because they use such little caffeine, 80 milligrams of caffeine. They use natural caffeine, green tea, and guarana. It's awesome. The L-carnitine that is in Aspire Energy is that long-lasting agent. That's why I'm still freaking pumped up, ready to talk football with you after 10 hours of a long, hard day on the job site. You guys, you too can experience this energy. All you got to do is go to aspiredrinks.com / discount / OTB25 and get the best discount on the market for your Aspire Energy. Again, that is aspiredrinks.com / discount / OTB25. And tell them that Scotty and Corey sent you.
Absolutely. You gotta love a good Aspire in the morning. Again, 7 o'clock in the morning. Gotta crack one. As you can see behind me, out of the new box, already have two gone. Working on the third, which is a new flavor for me. I have a whole new box, all three new flavors: uh, sweet cherry, mango lemonade, and I can't remember what the third one is. I'm sure I'll figure it out in the morning whenever I open it. But yeah, guys, absolutely go get that. Go check those out. Again, aspiredrinks.com / discount / OTB25 to get yours today. And as he said, tell him Scotty and Corey sent you. Now, partner, our favorite face in Washington is back on the field.
He
He
is.
is
He
he is
is.
he is enjoying some off-season workouts. Partner, you wanna tell me how you feel about that?
Brother, I love this. I love this because not only was he out there, he's out there with his number one guy, 17. You know, we love Terry around here. We wear the jersey on Terry Tuesday. You guys should know it by now. But he was also out there with new weapon Rashad White. He was out there with returning weapon De'Ami Brown. And they were out there with a couple of these draft eligible college guys. Just getting some work in out in California, enjoying the sunshine. Jaden was back home. And you have to think because his throwing motion does look solid, and he looked very comfortable moving around in the clips that I saw. It looks really promising. There's good zip on the ball. Um, a little bit different even from what we saw a couple of weeks ago whenever he was playing flag football, it looked like he was ready to go, and I'm excited to see it. What do you feel about this though? Because he looked like he had that same old chemistry, that 2024 chemistry with both Terry and Diami. So
Absolutely. Now, as you guys know, Debo Samuel still hasn't found a home yet, so he will not be having him to throw with, at least not at this current moment. And again, we love seeing him practice with Terry, as we all know, or as you guys should know if you don't. In 2025 season, Terry took a holdout, so it really limited his time with Jaden, and so it's just nice to see them back together again. And then also, if we look back a couple of weeks, he did wonderfully in that flag football game. I mean, his throwing was nice. I've seen a couple of clips, a couple of long passes that he did. I think he played great. So that was very nice to see as well. Um, and but I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see how he does this year. It could be an MVP season for him this year. He could put all those naysayers to rest, which in the 2024 season he had a lot of, and well, we've seen how that went. So last year he picked up a lot more, I believe, and I don't know. I just feel like this year he could do. He's going to do a lot better, and I don't know. He did have the sophomore. I guess you could call it a sophomore slump, but to me it was more of he had a few injuries, and then the season just didn't play out the way he wanted. But it's great to see him on the field doing drills, throwing the ball. That non-throwing arm looks to be healthy, so that's good. Um, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I really hope that everything pans out for him, and you know, hopefully we can grab a couple more people in the offseason. Washington is at number two with $50 million left, so that is a big plus for him as it could lead to a number two wide receiver.
yeah, 100%. Big big thing I do want to say. You can call it a sophomore slump if you would like to. The numbers say otherwise. He was injured a lot. He was
Right.
injured a lot. 61% completion percentage. Did throw for just north of 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Still had a passer rating of hovering right below 90. Um, and he had 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. I don't really think we were staring a sophomore slump in the face. I think we were more staring a fact that he had to play hero ball, which is extremely unfortunate for any quarterback.
Absolutely.
So to see him back out there, to see him with weapons that he already has rapport with, to see him building on that NFL rapport with Rashad White, to see him reestablishing with both Terry and with Diami, and who knows, maybe Chris Bishop Jr., which was one of the wide receivers that was out there with him, maybe he's a prospective teammate, a late round draft pick out of Louisiana State. You guys know how much I love my LSU. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, speaking of wide receivers, we got a couple more wide receivers to talk about here tonight. One of them being Tyreek Hill, who is still a free agent. He did leave last year on an injury. I believe it was an ACL tear. Is that correct? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong.
ACL tear and a separated patella. I want to say. Let me get the facts for you guys. Let me
Yeah,
get the facts for you.
but yeah, so he left injury while he looks that up, and so I think that this could be one of his final years. He might have a couple more left in him, but I feel like that this his production's is just kind of dropping. And again, he was in Miami um, with Tua, so you give him a good quarterback who knows what he can do again. Not saying Tua's bad, but he's a backup quarterback for a reason. Tua's just had a few concussions, being the understatement. But but the point is that statistically, statistically speaking, he is likely to land with Chicago having the second best odds to pick him up. They lost their number one wide receiver. I believe it was what is his name?
DJ Moore to the Bills.
Yes, thank you. I was thinking about it beforehand, but they lost DJ Moore to the Bills, and so why not grab a guy like Tyreek Hill, who has been known to produce, um, who is still one of the fastest people in the league. We'll see how he is after the injury. I haven't really been paying attention to him and whether he's on the field or not yet. But if he comes back stronger than ever, then we could see how well he does then. But that's to be determined at this point. However, I think that if he does come back in at least a normal, somewhat normal fashion, I think he'd be a great choice, at least as a wide receiver two or WR3 in some fashion.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. He will land somewhere. If that happens to be Chicago, then I feel like, would take a situational role behind Romo Dunze and Luther Burden. I feel like those will be two guys in front of him on the depth chart. I also don't feel like that we will see him until even if he does land on a roster, I don't think we'll see him until around week 3 or 4. Usually because he is so speed dependent and because he does run such crisp deep routes and how much that takes out of your knee, which, by the way, his injury confirmed a complete left knee dislocation and torn ACL with the possibility of nerve damage. Successful knee surgery. He's expected to make a full recovery, but the timeline, according to NFL Medical, for injuries like this for speed dependent players is usually around a year or more. So we may not see him until the middle of the season, wherever he does land.
Right.
But he will land somewhere. Someone will take a flyer on the fastest flyer in the game.
Absolutely.
And it does look like he has started to rehab a little bit. There's not a full range of motion and things like that, but it's not going to be. This is going to be a slow process, especially given the severity of that injury. I do not suggest that you look it up, but if you have morbid curiosity, it is out there. But you love to see the cheetah expecting to make a comeback, and he will. He will. If he's going to play football this year, he will land on a roster, and he will do very well for that team.
Yeah, absolutely. And on to the next wide receiver. We're gonna leapfrog a little somewhat here, um, but Jawan Jennings, a guy that we have mentioned before on this channel, an episode or three ago, something like that, and we've talked about him landing somewhere. He will land somewhere eventually, and as much as he is talked about, I wondered why hasn't he landed somewhere yet? What is going on? What is the caveat to this guy? And that is confirmed that he is asking too much for himself. He is asking too high a price for his services out in whatever team he inevitably goes to. Um, so I don't know who he's been meeting with, uh, but I do know that it has been, per sources, been talked about him asking for up to 21 million per year, and he's not that guy. Um, Not anymore, and possibly not ever. He's always been the kind of like wide receiver two type player to me, personally. Now I don't know how you feel about that, partner, but for me, I think 21 million a year is just too much for a guy who's aging.
Yeah. Now he's not football yet. He
Right,
is still under 30.
right.
So he still has years left at his position. But that number was not pulled out of thin air. That number was reported by an anonymous NFL GM, as reported by my good buddy Josh Taylor Football, um, asking as recently as the last week of March, even after all the wide receivers had cleared the board, and all all these other players have been traded and things like that. He was still asking upwards of $21 million per year for AV. And if he had more of that X wide receiver quality, I could see it. Throw the bag at him. That's a bargain for guys who can play. But he's he's not, in my opinion, worth more than 16 mil AAV. Just what he brings to the table. His numbers are never blown off the charts. He's not leading the NFL in receiving. He's not leading the NFL in yards or touchdowns. He's a fantastic blocker, probably the best blocking wide receiver in the NFL. But that doesn't get you paid what you are expecting if you're not putting up 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns a season.
Right.
So, is he really, really good? Yes. Am I surprised that he has not landed on a team? Yes. But from what we've heard in the past few days, it seems self inflicted by still wanting 20 plus $1 million a year, knowing what the wide receiver market was. Romeo Dobbs, proven number one guy, deep threat, runs crisp routes, got a hair over 22 mil a year, I think. Alec Pierce, and I've not been shy about this, was overpaid. Um, he landed at 30 mil a year, just south. Yeah, and he's not hanging in there with those dudes. And he wants money like that. I just don't think it's going to happen. I expect more along the lines of like a Rashid Shaheed who got 17.7 million per year. That feels more comfortable to me for Jawan Jennings, and maybe even just a little bit south of that.
Right.
But um, we'll see how it goes. He's going to land on a team. It's just going to be a matter of when he decides to break on his cost because consensus from around the NFL is that he is asking too much.
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude. And like I said, I don't see anyone paying that much for him to basically show up and be a second or third string guy. But speaking of showing up, Fernando Mendoza will not be. Uh, Adam Schefter has not been shy about talking about how Fernando Mendoza will not be showing up to the draft in Pittsburgh. Um, and that hasn't happened since 2021 with Trevor Lawrence. He was the last first overall pick quarterback to do that, and I couldn't tell you when before that. But it kind of surprises me. It does. I just on draft day, the camera pans around to different prospects. You've seen the clips of the guys answering the flip phones and those kind of things, and I just I don't know. Maybe he just wants to be surrounded with his family at the time. I mean, there's just a lot of things, but it does surprise me. I mean, you're gonna go number one, so sit down, go to Pittsburgh, sit down, do your thing, fly back home. But at the same and to caveat that, why do that when you know you're going number one? So might as well just stay home. You know, um, being there isn't helping your draft capital. I do not think, and not being there isn't hurting it. So what do you think, partner? Do you think he should have came? Do you think he's fine sitting at home? I mean, what's going through your mind
Here's
with
the
this?
here's the thing, and here is just one fan's opinion on the matter. And you guys know I love to throw that around because it is. It's just my opinion. But a lot of draft prospects, especially guys who are just about guaranteed to go in the top 10, want to be in the green room. They want to walk across the stage, they want to shake Roger Goodell's hand, they want to hold the card, they want to hold the jersey. And that is important to those players. Now, Fernando Mendoza has been extremely open about how important his mother is to him and has been, which is also why I'm going to double down on this and say that it is more important to him, if I am guessing, to be there with his mother and his family to celebrate such a monumental achievement in his professional career. That makes more sense to me based off of what the young man has given us on camera. And that is all of the time a support and love for his mother. So, um, actually, I had something here really quickly that I wanted to share from his Heisman speech. I just have to find it again.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, dude, I understand completely about it. You know, family is a lot more than money. Period. And why not share it? Again, if it's not gonna hurt your draft capital, why not share your time achieving something amazing that very few people in the world get to do with you just your family? You know, it is such an accomplishment to be drafted into the NFL. And he spoke about how important his mom once was to him, and then you know it's just why not just spend it at home? I mean, you're gonna get the jersey, the real thing, probably very soon after that. I don't know how soon draft prospects get to the training camp or get to, we'll call it campus for lack of a better word. But but yeah,
Yeah, here's the quote. Um, he spoke very emotionally in his Heisman acceptance speech about his mother, who has been enduring MS throughout her life. And his quote is, "Mommy, this is your trophy as much as it is mine. You've always been my biggest fan. You're my light. You're my why and biggest supporter. Courage, love. Those have been my first playbook and the playbook that I carry at my side throughout my entire life. You tell me toughness doesn't need to be loud, it can be quiet and strong. It's choosing hope, it's believing in yourself when the world doesn't give you much reason to. Together, you and I are defying what people think is possible. I love you." That
wow,
is a powerful quote that multiple people, and if you would have been on social media on Heisman night and watched the speech and then watched the outpouring after, there were I think clips of that speech had like 20 million interactions on on Heisman acceptance night.
wow,
And that is the reason why I think him being at home with his mother and his parents and all of his family, that makes the most sense to me as to why he is not going to be attending draft night. And a, a lot of, like I said, to be in the green room is a staple of the NFL experience for a lot of draft prospects. If you get the invitation, you go. Unless the invitation means less to you than sharing the moment with the people who put you there. So,
absolutely,
one fan's opinion, I like this move for him, especially knowing that it shouldn't affect his draft stock because he is hands down the most pro ready NFL prospect in this year's draft.
absolutely, and love the speech, love the speech. Um, but I've said all I have to say about it. However, this next topic is one that's kind of coming becoming a big deal for now anyway, and that is Dexter, not Demarcus, Lawrence, um, and he requested a trade um, I think it was a couple of nights ago, and the reason for that is he spent almost two full seasons, or he spent two full seasons trying to come to a deal with the Giants. Now, you and I talked a little bit before the show about Dexter Lawrence, and I think that if a trade is accepted, it will probably involve a late first, early second round He is going in his, I believe, his seventh year in the league this season. He started the league in 2019, got drafted to the Giants from Clemson. So, what do you think, partner? Do you think that I know you have some other stuff on him as well, from head coach uh, John, Jim, one of
John
the two.
Harbaugh.
Yep,
Jim is out there in LA with
yep.
Herbie. But yes, I respect his decision to pursue an environment that makes him feel like he is playing for the dollar amount that he is worth. Because if you look at his impact on the game of football for the New York Football Giants over the past 7 seasons, going into his 8th season this year, he has been stellar. He has been fantastic. Um, I don't know how else you put this. In missing 5 games in 2024, he landed 9 sacks. That's insane. In 2022, he had 7.5 sacks. In 2023, another 4.5. The sack production dipped a little bit last season, but I don't think there's cause for concern because he eats blocks. He makes an impact in the run game and he can get after the quarterback. You said before we came onto the show that he led the NFL last season in pressures, even over new sack leader Miles Garrett. You pay guys like that. Now, granted, I don't know what exactly the situation is. Um, I don't know what the holdup is from head coach John Harbaugh, from Joe Sheen, the general manager, owner John Mara. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do know that from a player standpoint, him pursuing a trade, it has to be because he feels undervalued. And they have failed to put an extension in front of him that accurately depicts his value. And I back that value because he is unreal. He had an interception last season.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But the quote that you were referring to from head coach John Harbaugh, in not particularly aimed at Dexter Lawrence, a reporter had asked if Kayvon Thibodeau was going to be available on the trade market. And John, in what seemed to be a joking manner, but his eyes told a different story to me, said that everybody's tradable. He even joked and said the reporter was tradable if they could get something back for him. So, I believe I believe that this Dexter Lawrence trade request holds weight, and I certainly believe that there are a couple of landing spots. And here's a couple that make sense to me, and I'll just reel off a couple for you, and then you can, if you've got a couple in mind for you, I'm sure the people would love to hear it. For me, first and foremost, I think the Buffalo Bills would like to have him. I think that moving to Western New York, pairing up with Ed Oliver, that's a dangerous defense. That's scary. What that trade would look like, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if they're expecting some sort of player value in return. I don't know if they just want a high draft pick, maybe like you said, a late 20s first rounder or early in the second round. It's hard to tell. The defensive tackle draft class is pretty stacked. You can get a lot of defensive talent in those first 64 picks, or possibly somewhere like the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that, especially with you said that the Chiefs had been open about being interested in Dexter Lawrence, that also should scare a lot of people because that defense I feel like is a couple of good moves away and they're going to have a good draft. They're going to end up with one of those stellar draft prospects. My opinion, my pick for them is Mansour Delane, given that they lost both of their starting cornerbacks, but they are a defensive tackle and a starting corner from being an elite defense once again, especially with Steve Spagnuolo at the reins. But I like the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs as fit for Dexter Lawrence. Um, what do you think, partner? How do you feel about this trade request?
Well, I like the Kansas City Chiefs, and again, they had said that they were very open about that, um, about wanting him, but also it's not really that I have another opinion on where he should go, as long as it's either the Commanders pick him up, which is for me maybe a little bit of a doubt. I still think he would make a great addition to the team. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think we're going to be looking for him at the moment. So as long as he doesn't end up in anywhere else in the NFC East, then I would be okay with him going over to the AFC and even to the NFC. I know we're going to have to play him in the playoffs eventually or one game, 1 year, but as long as it is outside of our division, unless it's us, I could care less. I hope he does go somewhere to get, again, like you said, what he feels he has earned. Again, this is his 7th year in football, and his production has not stopped. I think last year he had 34 pressures, and he's had 108 since 2022 at the defensive tackle position. So, I mean, and that is mountains over. I think Vita Vey in the last 5 years has had 36 ish. I don't have the stat in front of me anymore, but it's something like that. He is at the top for the last uh, 5 years, 4 years since 2022, whatever it is. So um, that's 4 years, by the way. But anyhow, I just think as long as he goes somewhere to get his bag. Now again, like I said, I think it will be no matter where he ends up. I think it'll be a late, 20s or higher um, draft capital or early second round. And just because of what he can do for a team, I just don't. I just feel like there's so many places he can go, even for teams that aren't looking for a defensive tackle. He would still be an amazing fit there. Um, and again, and like I said, as long as it's not anywhere, which the two options are the Cowboys and the Eagles, and as long as he doesn't re-sign with the Giants, I'm cool. Get him out of here. I don't want to have to. I don't have to game plan against him. So, but yeah, that's my thing. So, um, yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, quick side note, 21 and a half sacks in those 4 years since he's been wreaking havoc
Yep.
up the interior on the interior where the most double teams happen for defensive linemen.
Yep.
Unbelievable production, and I'll stand on it 10 toes down all day, every day. Elite defensive tackle play is worth every dollar that you can throw at your players. Um,
Right. There
but
was actually a stat. I have lost it here, but he did very well when he was at the nose guard position as well. Again, I have lost it here. But those listening, you guys can definitely go look that up. But he did very well even in the nose tackle position. I think he is either left or right of that now. But anyhow, moving on to I think is becoming our favorite segment, which also means it will be coming to an end within the week. So we are doing another breakdown. It is the NFC North. Partner, you wanna get us started on these Bears?
of course, of course. Now listen, the respect that I'm about to spew for the Bears is not for Bears fans. I don't care. I don't care. You guys are creating a rivalry where there is none. Both of our quarterbacks are going to be dogs for the rest of their careers. Why don't you just lay back and take a chill pill? It's not Jaden versus Caleb, but the respect I'm about to throw is for one particular Bears fan, and that's my dad. My dad fucking loves the Bears. Still knows the Super Bowl shuffle. It's crazy. It's been 41 years. He still knows the Super Bowl shuffle. But yes, let's kick this off and re-signing Case Keenum as the backup up there in Chicago. I like this move. I like Case. I've liked Case since he was at Houston, and he was slinging the ball all over college defenses. Um, 2 years, $4.4 million. That makes a lot of sense to have a veteran guy, especially a dude with an arm like Case Keenum, who, fun fact, speaking on NFC North teams, threw the Minneapolis Miracle to Stephon Diggs in that playoff game against the Saints. Uh, you guys can carry that one with you. That was Case Keenum. So really solid signing there. Keeping him in Chicago. Khalif Raymond. I think this is also underrated. And this is one of those signings where I feel like if they bring in Tyreek Hill, it will be to be interchanging with Khalif Raymond because Khalif Raymond is a shifty, speedy dude, great hands. Um, got a fairly deep bag for one season, $5.1 million. You'd like to see it. A couple of re-signings along the offensive line. Tackle Braxton Jones staying with the team, and guard Jordan McFadden also staying with the team. Both of those on one-year contracts. Garrett Bradbury. This is big. This is big. If at the very cheap price of a 2027 fifth round pick coming over from the New England Patriots. Garrett was Garrett was a couple of good plays away from being a Super Bowl champion, and they reeled him away over to Chicago. You like to see moves like that. Ryan Poles is a he's a good GM. He likes to make moves for his teams, so you like to see it. Contavious Street, an edge rusher, signed on a free agent deal. We also have defensive end Daniel Hardy re-signing with the team on a 2-year deal. Neville Gallimore signing with the team. I like this move on the interior. He's really flexible. You can put him out on the end. You can put him inside. He's really good at eating up blocks. Really good against the run as well. 2 years, $12 million. That makes a lot of sense. James Lynch, a lot of those same things. Very versatile on that defensive line. Came for a 1-year deal. This move surprised me a little bit. Devin Bush. I would have thought they would have tried to re-sign Tremaine Edmonds, and maybe they did. Maybe they did. Maybe Devin Bush fits the budget a little bit better. But Devin Bush, a great fit by the way, a great fit for that defense. He's going to wreak havoc. 3 years, $30 million to patrol the middle of the field for the Chicago Bears now. And DeMarco Jackson re-signing, staying in Chicago, 2 years, 7.5 mil with a max value of 10.5. Another linebacker addition. This one a little more flexible. You can play him as an edge. He can also be off ball. Jack Sanborn confirmed to be signed with the team. They re-signed cornerback Jalen Jones. They signed cornerback Cam Lewis. They signed Kobe Bryant, not to be confused with our basketball legend, rest in peace, to the Mamba. But they signed Kobe Bryant away from the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, 3 years, $40 million, including $25.75 guaranteed. And Elijah Hicks staying in Chicago on a 1-year deal to re-sign with the team. Partner, how do you think the Chicago Bears have performed to this point in the off season?
I think they fared probably the best out of the next three teams we're going to talk about. Again, Case Keenum, love the guy. Uh, great, great, great decision there. Um,
Used to wear the W as well.
he did, he did. But yeah, great stuff all along the entirety here. Really focused on that defense, which I think they were just a good defense away from pulling off an upset in that playoff game last year. So I think that they were again just a defense away for me personally. So, and again, not for the Bears fans, but I just the Bears are the Bears, and they deserve to be doing some good things. But you ain't got to make it a rivalry where there ain't got to be one. Just be happy you got a decent quarterback. Um, moving on to another team that deserves good things, and that is the Detroit Lions. Now they signed Teddy Bridgewater, which has had a lot of media attention in the last couple of years. As you know, he got in some trouble in Florida for trying to help his high school team out, providing rides, providing equipment, whatever they needed, and it led to a law being passed. I think it was what the Bridgewater something or another that basically said that that was okay for him to do. So, I mean, how dare a quarterback try to go home and fix the community up a little bit? I tell you what. But they signed him on a deal. It doesn't say with how much. Um, I have no idea. But they got him, and then they got running back Isaiah Pacheco, who signed a one year, $1.81 million deal. Love that. Great depth piece. Uh, obviously, the um, obviously just a great guy to have. You don't want to have to change up the game too much for somebody, and I think he pairs very well. Um, I will think of his name in a second after I'm finished stalling. Uh, damn it.
So Isaiah Pacheco, while you're thinking on it, I like this because he's an angry runner. He runs like the kid out in the field at recess in middle school. He runs like his shoes are on fire. A great compliment and a great replacement for our guy David Montgomery, who went down to Houston on a trade, and a perfect compliment to Jameer Gibbs.
There you go.
And that just
I could not think of his name to save my life. Yeah, I mean, Jameer Gibbs will obviously always be the number one there. There's just no chance of Isaiah Pacheco ever taking that spot. Arguably one of the best running backs in the league right now. Um,
consensus would say yes.
yeah,
I think that it is him and Kenneth Walker, and then the rest of the field.
yeah. Jonathan Taylor is a very good running back, but again, I just feel like that those two names that you just named are just leagues ahead of the running back class right now. So moving on, they signed a one-year deal with Greg Dortch, another one-year deal with tight end Tyler Conklin, and then moved on to center Cade Mays, who signed a 3-year, $25 million deal, shoring up that center spot. Then went on to get two offensive tackles, Ben Barch and Larry Borum, who they both signed 1 year or so deals. Um, again doesn't say, which is crappy on NFL's part. Anyway, offensive lineman Juice Scruggs, which was acquired in a trade with the Houston Texans. Um, partner, are you still there?
I'm still here, yes. I think
I
we
am.
have lost collab camera though.
We did lose collab cam.
All right, give us
Um,
just a second, folks. We have a slight technical difficulty. We will be right back with you.
sent you another one.
All right.
No worries though, they can still hear you.
Yeah. So the big thing being with this trade that you just mentioned on with the Houston Texans, that was our landing spot for our guy David Montgomery.
Yeah, yep. They along with 2026 fourth round draft pick and a 2027 seventh round selection in exchange for running back David Montgomery. Now, they decided, hey, we can actually do some things on our defense, re-sign some guys, and kind of beef up the depth a little bit. As you know, players get tired. They're not drinking Aspire like they should be. So they went out and got a defensive end, DJ Wanham, for a 1 year contract worth up to $6 million, and then two linebackers, Damone Clark and Malcolm Rodriguez. Uh, Damone Clark signed a certain amount with a certain amount of years with the team. Again, didn't tell us how long, but he did sign with the Lions inevitably. And then they re-signed Malcolm Rodriguez. Also re-signed cornerback Avante Maddox. Love that. Got to bring those cornerbacks back in. Uh, Picked up Roger McCray on a free agent deal,
I
and
think that's
Rock
underrated
Sin,
signing.
and that is Rock YA-SIN. Rockyasin. I don't know what else you want from me. He re-signed a 1 year, $4 million deal. And then they got a couple of safeties, Chuck Clark, who signed with the Lions, and then Christian Izien with a 1 year deal as well. Not a lot going on here, partner. I mean, a couple of things. The two major things here is center Cade Mays and offensive lineman Juice Scruggs. Beefing up that offensive line um, a little bit better. Again, help Jameer Gibbs run through that line. Give Jared Goff some time to throw the ball. What do you think, partner? Good signings and
I
re-signings.
think I think what they did was shore up a roster that they were already very confident in. I think Dan Campbell and the front office have a lot of confidence in who they have in that building for the most part. The big signing show in Cade Mays and trading for Juice Scruggs, that's a very important piece to give up for an interior offensive lineman and David Montgomery. So you like to see that. And Juice played well in Houston. In his time, you can see he's really good at defending the run or blocking for the run. He's also extremely good at blocking for the pass. You get who you get in Cade Mays, and I liked his tape. I think he's really, really good at communication, which helps him play center a lot better. And he was actually on my list of centers that I wanted to land in Washington. Uh, I had him directly behind Tyler Linderbaum, and I think that makes a world of difference to get a guy like that who can communicate with Jared Goff, communicate with the offensive line, and make the protections matter. Now, on the defensive side, I like the re-signings that they have. Rock Yasin, Avante Maddox, Malcolm Rodriguez. Those guys are all extremely important. Those guys continue to make a difference on the defense, and they will. They will continue to do that all season. It is my belief that they are holding out for cornerback next season, though. So don't be surprised if you don't see Avante Maddox or Rock Yasin back next season. For right now, though, that move makes a ton of sense. The movement in the safety room, I like Christian Ezian. I also like Chuck Clark. I think those are really sound signings. Um, but I'll tell you, for all of the activity that those first two teams have done, the Green Bay Packers have given us nothing to work with, partner. So let me break this down really quickly. They have gone out and tried to replace Romeo Dobbs with Sky Moore. And I respect that signing. I like Sky Moore a lot. Do I think he's a an apples to apples replacement of Romeo Dobbs? Not particularly. Can he stretch the field the same way that Dobbs does? Yeah, absolutely. They did sign Sean Ryan on that offensive line, 3 years, $33 million, max value of 39 mil. I like that. They did.
I'm glad you said that name because I would have screwed that up.
You heard it here first, folks. They did
That
also
H would have
go
screwed
out.
me over. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
We'll get him some lessons, folks. I promise. The next signing I agree with heavily, given how many players they have separated with for Dallas. I don't understand it. Help help me make it make sense. They
Yeah.
did. They separated with Rashawn Gary, so I think bringing in Javon Hargrave, the veteran out of Minnesota, that makes a world of difference. 2 years, $23 million. That's a very affordable deal for a proven guy. And speaking of separating with our defensive linemen, they traded Colby Wooden with the Indianapolis Colts to obtain Zaire Franklin. Now, this is a huge piece. I do think that Zaire Franklin is a key piece on that defense. I like this move a lot. And their only move in the secondary, where I think they are truly hurting, was Benjamin St. Juice, 2 years, $10 million, max value of 10.5. Used to don the burgundy and gold. Went out to LA with the Chargers, had a decent year, managed to fetch himself a bag. Managed to fetch himself a bag. You like to see that. But the Packers, very underwhelming to this point in the offseason. What do you think of it, partner?
Well, partner, I'll tell you this much: they are at the bottom of my list. Um, so that has given you two of my rankings so thus far, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Again, not much to work with. They didn't do really a whole lot. Um, I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe they just didn't like the guys that were in the process, or maybe just other teams snagged them before they could, and they're not trying to get half-ass guys. So maybe that's the deal. If that is the case, then congratulations. I'm glad you got who you did get, and I am appreciative of you not grabbing a couple people for a 1 year playoff run. We've talked about that quite a bit, seeing as how Washington did that, and that just it's irritating for sure. But this last team definitely gave me a little bit more to talk about, but not as much as the first two teams, and that is the Minnesota Vikings. Now, they went out and signed Kyler Murray to start off with, re-signed Carson Wentz on a 1 year, $3 million deal with 2.645 million guaranteed. Um, Carson Wentz still getting a couple $1 million as a third string, it would seem. Um, I don't know who's going to win that second string quarterback battle between those two, but JJ McCarthy is not going anywhere for sure. He is probably going to be the starter for quite a while. Um, but to help JJ is going to be Aaron Jones, who signed a revised contract that lowers his base salary from $9 million to $5.5 million, keeping Jones in Minnesota for the 2026 season. Um, then signed offensive lineman Ryan Van Demark. He signed a 1 year, fully guaranteed $4.2 million deal. No bonuses, no nothing. All of it is just guaranteed. No incentives. Show up, play football. Then they got linebacker Eric Wilson, who signed a 3 year, $22.5 million deal that includes $12.5 million fully guaranteed, along with cornerback James Pierre, on a 2 year, $8.5 million deal that includes 3.7 in guarantees and a 2.5 million signing bonus. Um, Moving on, they also re-signed Tavier Thomas.
Good job. Good job, dude.
Was that one correct? Because that one was a big one.
Yes.
I feel like I need to start opening dictionaries and looking at big words. um, then they signed a punter, Johnny Hecker, on a 1 year deal, along with long snapper Andrew De Paula. See,
Good
it
job.
la-
There you go.
I just gotta
Take your
look at it for
time.
a few seconds.
That's it.
Um,
Take your time, though.
a few good signings here. I like the second chance that Kyler Murray is getting with the Vikings. I do not know who the um, Cardinals are going to go for as far as quarterback. I don't think they have a contending quarterback, I will say. And what I mean by that is I don't think they have someone that is going to put them in a position to compete for the playoffs, essentially. Will they get that in the draft? I don't know. Maybe they sign Ty Simpson or Simmons. Um,
Simpson.
yep. Maybe they
That's
sign
to say
him,
he's available. That's to
and
say
if
he's
he's
available
available,
unless they take a chance at two or three. I think they draft
yeah,
three.
yeah. I just don't see them taking that chance that early. That is a very large reach, but not to say that they won't. Um, I don't know, man. And I also like to see Aaron Jones taking team um, a team deal. I'll call it, revising his contract to allow a little bit of extra salary to pull some other guys in. We'd love to see that. Love the sportsmanship there. Partner, what do you think?
I like the moves that the Minnesota Vikings have made this offseason. I like shoring up the quarterback room. Here's my hot take, though. I don't think that they make the moves that they make and do not start Kyler Murray. I think that what the plan is. The plan is that you start Kyler Murray, you let him run this offense because he is a dynamic player. He has proven that time and time again. I don't think that, especially with the revolving door of coordinators in Arizona, that he has ever really had a fair chance to prove who and what he is. Do not be surprised if number one is taking snaps at the start of the season instead of nine.
Hmm.
I'm with you. I think Aaron Jones is going to help bolster the roster whenever he took that deal. That's a very team friendly revision for your contract. Um, that's just a veteran guy who wants to win in his remaining time in the league.
Yep.
Uh, you get a guy like James Pierre, who is a difference maker on defense, and I think that makes a world of difference. Especially as cheap as the cornerback market was this season, I think you sign a guy like James Pierre for less than $10 million over 2 years, and that's a good get. That's a really good get. You like to see them retaining guys like Eric Wilson, who is a proven difference maker on that defense for the past good few years. I like that move. I think that they have overall been more successful than the Green Bay Packers. They were not as successful as the Lions and the Bears. For me, this offseason has fell number one Bears, number two Lions, number three Vikings, and number four Green Bay Packers. What about you, partner?
Partner, for me, it's number one Bears, number two Lions, number three Vikings, and number four Packers. So very
No
similar.
debate this week. What?
No debate. We are on the same kind of page here. I just don't. I just feel like the at least the 1 and 4 selections are justified. Now, Minnesota and the Lions, you could do a toss up if you wanted to with that one. I just feel like that the Lions did a little more with their signings, whereas it just kind of felt like maybe the Minnesota was kind of going with what they had at the time. Um, but yeah, no debate this no debate today. Maybe on Saturday, we'll see. For the AFC East, and then next week, next Tuesday for the NFC East. Y'all stay tuned for that one. That one is going to be fun for sure.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. Do we get way too early
Oh yeah,
division predictions
yeah,
from
yeah.
you this
Sorry.
week, partner?
Division winners for me this time, I think, is gonna be a little bit similar to last year, to last season's. I think that the Bears are gonna finish on top again, unless the Lions can get something going down there, a little better than last year. I believe they finished second. Give me one second. Have it wrote down here. Yes, the or no, the Lions finished uh, last year in the standings. Which, like I said, I think that if it is to bring it back on track, I think that the Bears are going to be number one. I think that the Lions are going to come back up and be a number. I'll say a number two, or yeah, I'll say number two. I think the Lions will come back and be number two contender this year. And then I think it'll be Packers and then Vikings. I just feel like the Vikings don't have enough going on just yet, and the Packers, in my opinion, did not do enough this year to retain that number two spot they had in the in last season. So in the off season for the Packers, they didn't do enough for me to want to put them in the second slot. And of course, the Packers were they've done or the Bears have done a lot this offseason. So again, that's Bears, Lions, Packers, and Vikings.
I like it. I like it. For me, the way too early prediction of the NFC North goes like this: the Chicago Bears are going to win this division for a second year in a row. That is the most complete team in the NFC North. They remain that way. Ryan Polis has proved that he is very capable as a GM, and Ben Johnson has proved that he is very capable as a head coach. So, to me, they repeat as division winners. I have, and this is going to be a good one for you, you guys. I have with Kyler Murray at the reins and steady quarterback play in an offense that caters to the style of football that Kyler Murray plays. I have the Minnesota Vikings coming in second in this division. And I have the Detroit Lions coming in third in this division. And you guys, this is going to be very good for you. Are you ready for this? The Green Bay Packers, the powerhouse that is the Green Bay Packers, are going to finish last in the NFC North. But, and write this down, folks, I want you to remember this whenever I say this. Every team in the NFC North will have a positive record this coming season. Every team.
So
There
you
will
think
be
it'll
a
be a dogfight
last
to get that number one spot?
there will be a last week win to put a third team from the NFC North into the NFL playoffs next season.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. Okay. Where's my pen at? It's a pencil. It's wrote down.
There we go, folks. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great Tuesday to hang out with all of you. Big thank you guys so much for listening, so much for watching. If you are doing that, again, if you're not watching and you are listening, we appreciate it. Also, you can go over to YouTube and watch us discuss. I mean, I'm always using my hands because what do I do with my hands? And so, um, yeah, so some of the things we talk about, there's typically something on the screen. So if you guys have not yet, you guys can always go over to our YouTube channel. It is the exact same on all of our platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Twitter,
I mean, yeah,
all of it.
Twitter, all of it. We're on all social media platforms, all major ones. And so if you guys want to, go check those out. Go like some of the posts. Go comment on some of the posts. Go comment on the shorts we have on Facebook, and leave comments on these. If you can comment on the podcast, absolutely do that. I mean, I typically go around at the end of every week looking for comments when I do post shorts and stuff on Facebook as well, and Instagram and everything that I post to. I typically go check that out. So again, if you guys want some Aspire, it is aspiredrinks.com/discount /OTB25 and tell them that we sent you. So, partner, any farewells for the fans?
Of course, partner. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for making this little dream of ours a possibility. Thank you guys for hanging out with us twice a week and listening to us ramble about what we may or may not know about the game of football and sharing in that love with us. Thank you for keeping us humble and honest and responsible in doing it. Thank you to Aspire Energy for taking a chance on two old boys who just want to talk football. Huge shout out to them. Like Corey said, go get yours. AspireDrinks.com / discount / OTB25. That helps us stay on these platforms to continue to talk the football of all football with you guys. And last but not least, partner, a thank you to you for showing up and being here and us doing the thing, man. Thank you so much for always being in the chair opposite me and just chatting. We love to chat football. It's been our life for as long as I can remember. So
Absolutely.
it's really fun to do it on a platform where we could share it with other people.
Absolutely. And a big thank you to you as well. Couldn't do it without you. That's for sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Tuesday edition of Off the Bench with my co host, Scotty, and me, Corey. We are signing off, and we will see you on Saturday.